I just settled into my new place in early May, a sprawling 14-acre slice of heaven where the oaks burst into deep green and the morning air carried the sharp tang of wet earth. The house, a two-story beauty with a creaky wraparound porch, sat alone with no neighbors close enough to hear me yell. After a brutal divorce and 12 years untangling legal knots for the state court, this was my sanctuary. No one to nag about my unmowed lawn or the color of my shutters. Or so I thought. 3 months in, as the quiet started to seep into my soul, a letter appeared in my rusted mailbox. No return address, just a crisp seal from Willow Creek Estates HOA. My stomach twisted. I wasn't part of their damn association. My land was its own beast legally, physically, hell, even philosophically. The letter screamed violation, encroachment on community-adjacent woodland, and non-compliance with landscape viewability standards. They demanded an immediate inspection. I stood in the driveway, rereading it, waiting for the words to admit they were a mistake. They didn't. I laughed once bitter, then went cold. This wasn't confusion. It was a calculated move. I fired back that same day, my old courtroom habits kicking in. To whom it may concern, I wrote, my property is not, and never has been, under Willow Creek Estates HOA jurisdiction. Further attempts to impose authority will be considered harassment. I figured that'd shut them up. You don't mess with a guy who used to sketch survey lines in his sleep. But a second letter came, paper, bolder tone, hinting at county environmental inspectors getting involved. A threat dressed in fake concern. I read it in my kitchen, blinds half down, the wood stove tempting me to burn the damn thing. But the part of me that had watched developers bully family farms knew better. This was no mix-up. It was a test. What gnawed at me wasn't just the letters. Someone out there close enough to know my land's back edge, what I cleared, what I hadn't thought they could control me. That night, I walked my property with a flashlight, the breeze slicing through the trees. Normally, it calmed me. Now, it felt like eyes were on me. I wasn't scared, not yet. But I was pissed, that slow, icy anger that builds when someone toys with your rights. I'd left the world's noise to live on my terms. No HOA busybodies were going to dictate what I did on my own dirt. I didn't wait. The next day, I planted 3 custom metal private property, no trespassing signs along my lot's edges, reflective paint glaring under moonlight. I reinforced the side gate with a steel latch, set up trail cameras 3 on the rear acre, 1 by the garage and locked the front gate tight. It felt wrong, locking up a rural place like this, but HOAs had turned my peace into a battlefield. 2 days later, at 7:30 a.m., I was sipping my second coffee when I spotted them through the window. 2 men in neon vests, Willow Creek HOA logos stitched neat, strolling through my side gate like they owned it. One clutched a clipboard, the other snapped photos of my deck and the pines beyond. A drone buzzed overhead, a whining pest circling my trees. I stepped outside, voice steady but sharp. You've got 5 seconds to explain why you're on my land. The clipboard guy, tall and smug, flashed a smile like I'd in VY Tedman brunch. Scheduled inspection, sir. Responding to community complaints. I stepped closer. What community? I'm not in your HOA. You know that. He didn't flinch. Our mandate covers environmental impact within a 600-foot buffer of protected woodlands. Bullshit. Show me the mandate. I snapped. Show me one paper that says you can cross my gate. The other guy, wiry with wraparound shades, muttered, problem neighbor, and kept shooting photos. The drone dipped lower. Clipboard guy's smile tightened. No need to involve authorities, Mr. Harper. Just a routine survey. That was the wrong thing to say. You trespassed. You're recording my property without a warrant. And you think I'm escalating? They turned, sauntering back through my gate like they'd won, vanishing into the trees. Back inside, my coffee went cold. My chest burned, that old courtroom fire where logic meets principle. That evening, I checked the camera feeds. At the 23-minute mark, there he was, clipboard guy, easing open my garage door, slipping halfway inside for 20 seconds before backing out, casual as if he'd dropped a tool. He wasn't inspecting. He was planting something, maybe a narrative. I froze the frame, his face clear. They weren't playing fair. They were betting I would. I filed a sheriff's report that night: trespassing, unauthorized photography, possible criminal entry attaching footage, timestamps, and my deed. Then I called an old friend, Lucas, a real estate lawyer in Cincinnati I hadn't spoken to in years. I sent him everything. His reply was razor sharp. James, these letters mimic HOA directives, but they're not legal. No record. This is impersonation, maybe fraud. My heart slowed, focused. They thought I'd fold because I was alone. They forgot I don't scare when someone waves fake rules in my face. Then the smear campaign hit. A neighbor texted, "Your face is on the HOA app." I thought it was a joke until I saw it on their public platform. A blurry trail cam still of me in my backyard, cropped to look sneaky. The caption? Unknown indie VY, dual suspected of unauthorized acti VY, tie near protected pine buffer. Residents, keep children indoors near Lot 7. Lot 7 was me. They didn't name me, but my house was the backdrop. My piece twisted into a threat. Neighbors turned cold. A woman yanked her dog away from my driveway. A UPS driver avoided my eyes. Some guy in a Prius yelled, "Nice job poisoning the forest," and sped off like a VY Gillante. Worse, the county NVY environmental office sent an inspector, prompted by 7 anonymous complaints about chemical dumping and unpermitted construction. I walk him around myself, no toxins, no construction, just raccoon scratches by my compost. After 20 minutes, he sighed. "Mr. Harper, there's nothing here. This feels coordinated." My stomach churned. Coordinated. He couldn't speculate, but he'd seen this before. Vague, emotional complaints, all identical. That night, I sat on my porch, scotch in hand, staring at the HOA's lies letters drone stills my face on their app. They weren't just testing me. They were painting a target, turning my neighbors against me. It was working. The silence around me wasn't peace anymore. They wanted me gone. I hit back, not with rants, but with precision. Lucas and I drafted a legal notice: defamation, trespassing, impersonation, harassment. We filed it with the HOA, copying the county, sheriff, and realtors board. I upgraded my cameras, added motion lights, and logged every encounter. But the ache hit hard when a neighbor rolled up their window as I passed, or when HOA board members whispered loudly at the grocery store, making me feel like a ghost. I'd fought bigger battles, courtrooms, VY Olent land disputes, but this was personal, a rot in the soil that made me question, for a split second, if I belonged. Then I looked at my trees, my gravel, my home. Mine. I wasn't Leah VYing until I burned their lies to ash. I dug deeper. A Freedom of Information Act request revealed the 7 complaints, same wording, same typos. One person's lazy copy-paste job. I combed the HOA's public financials and found a due law 38,112 line item for external surveillance. They were watching me. Then a neighbor, Tom, dropped by, nervous, handing me a screenshot from the HOA's private chat. Username Creek Guard wrote, "He's isolating. If he caves, we move on acquisition." Another, Mapleview, added, "We have the old offer. If he flips, we push rezoning." Vulture talk, developers circling my land. Tom lingered by my camera, too knowing. I texted Lucas, "Trace Creek Guard's IP. Check Tom Ellison." 3 hours later, Lucas confirmed. Tom was the mole, feeding them my every move. Betrayal stung, especially from a guy who'd shared beers and garden tomatoes. But clarified the game. They wanted my land for development, and I had the pieces to fight. The morning it exploded, I found my front gate wide open, its heavy-duty padlock snapped like taffy. Fresh footprints crisscrossed the grass. On my garage and fence, neon orange spray, paint screamed, "Move out or else." Red lacquer coated my camera, scrawled with, "We see you too." Fury hit like fire through dry brush. I didn't shout. I called Lucas. They broke the gate, tagged the garage, painted my camera. He asked, "Anything else?" "Just a threat I'm done ignoring." This was their mistake, desperate, reckless, a cornered rat's move. Sheriff's deputies came, photographed the graffiti, and took my footage seriously. "This is an HOA business," one muttered. "This is criminal mischief, maybe intimidation." I filed a police report and drafted a lawsuit with Lucas. Dula 1.2 million for harassment, trespass, destruction, and intimidation, naming Indy VY dual board members. In court, the HOA's lawyer called it miscommunications. We buried them with EVY Denke. Footage of 4 hooded figures breaking my lock and painting threats, a drone launched by a board member's unmistakable face, and leaked chats from Tom, now testifying. Push hard. He'll break. The land's open for rezoning. The crowd gasped. The judge's gavel cracked. A board member, Gerald Tate, cracked under oath. We thought he wouldn't play ball. That land's VY Tau for expansion. The judge snapped. Intimidating a landowner isn't strategy. It's coercion. The jury took 20 minutes. Verdict. Dula $550,000 in damages. The HOA board dissolved, a state audit ordered, and an inquiry into county HOAs for similar abuse. The courtroom erupted in applause. Reporters swarmed. Neighbors I hadn't spoken to in months shook my hand, hugged me. A quiet Vietnam vet from down the road said, "You did what we couldn't." I put up a new sign. Private property. Owner J. Harper. Not HOA. Not you. Brushed aluminum, welded clean, glinting like defiance. The county's HOAs scrambled, some resigning outright. Willow Creek limped along, managing trash pickup, no more fake inspectors or drones. I kept my cameras. A podcast in VY TED me to tell my story. I sat in my backyard, autumn leaves glowing, and said, "I'm not special." I just said no. No board, no neighbor should scare a man off his land. 500,000 watched. Someone mailed me a carved plaque. Mandate? What mandate? I hung it in my workshop. One October morning, neighborhood kids biked by, one shouting, "Hey, Mr. Harper, you sued the HOA and won?" I leaned on my fence. "That's what they say." He grinned. "Badass." I laughed all the way to my porch, the sun stretching golden across my trees. This place was mine still, always. What do you think? Should HOAs have any power over private land? Or are they just legalized bullying? Would you have fought like I did, or walked away? Drop your thoughts below, hit like if you're with me, and subscribe for more stories that hit hard.